Thanks for joining our session today. My name is Philip Armstrong and my colleague Cory has joined me, and we're going to tackle a topic that is top of mind for many in the industry today, and I'm sure you as well: security. We've called this session Federated Security with VCF on VxRail. We're going to take a moment and highlight quickly the value of leveraging VMware Cloud Foundation on VxRail, talk about what the NSX-T Federation can provide to security, and then we're going to get into a demo where we're going to show you live on our system how easy it is to build a software-defined networking that has security at the top of mind. So when you're looking at VMware Cloud Foundation on Dell EMC VxRail, this is a platform that will simplify, streamline, and automate your hybrid cloud operations, right? When it comes to building and maintaining a consistent infrastructure and a consistent operations, regardless of your use case. Maybe it's around VDI, or it's around SAP HANA or a Kubernetes initiative. We can provide all of this. And the way we do it is by leveraging full stack integration to simplify the automated software-defined data center. Providing intrinsic security, which we're going to touch on that at the network layer today in our demonstration. We provide flexible deployment models, right? Because every customer doesn't have the same use case. Edge, core, and hybrid cloud as some key examples. Automated end-to-end lifecycle management. If you've ever sat there in a change window and went to implement updates, right, across a large-scale data center, you can appreciate the automation that we have with end-to-end automation, inclusive of all of the VMware and all of the VxRail components from a single pane of glass. Single vendor support to provide you a central point of accountability for all of the hardware and software. By deploying VMware Cloud Foundation on VxRail to build your hybrid cloud, you get to take advantage of all of these benefits. And when we talk about the deployment models, right, there's many customers with many different needs. Some need to deploy VCF in a single location to build a, software-defined data center. Right, some are building that across multiple data centers to extend their high availability between AZs. Some are building their hybrid cloud across different sites, right? Maybe there's some edge locations where they need their cloud initiative to be local to. And then we have people that are deploying VCF in multiple regions, and they need to streamline across these different VCF instances. And that's where we're going to pick up some of the topics today. That's what we have in our demo. We have the multi-region management capabilities that are provided by NSX-T Federation. If you want to know a lot of detail about what it takes to deploy the NSX-T Federation, I recommend you take a look at our previous video where we go into in-depth detail about deploying the global manager cluster, the standby cluster, and onboarding our local NSX managers. But what this NSX-T Federation allows you to do as an administrator is log into this global manager and manage any of our instances, right? So here we have 3 different locations, all having an individual NSX manager, but by allowing us to log into this global manager, we can create segments, security groups, policies across all of our locations, providing us a single pane of glass to go and manage our network constructs. Security in our software-defined data center is critical. The majority of our traffic flow between virtual machines, applications, and databases is east and west. And trying to leverage the traditional approach of leveraging a perimeter firewall is inefficient. The perimeter firewall is a specialized device to protect the perimeter. It's not designed to provide that east and west traffic workflow security that your applications need. This firewall is going to need to be very large to be able to provide the throughput necessary to protect all east and west traffic. And then we also have the traffic flows that are going to go through the network to the firewall and back and forth, and it's going to create some inefficient traffic patterns. As we look and scale this out into our data centers, right, there's a lot of communication between applications within a data center that's east and west. We also have communication between different availability zones with east and west traffic among our data centers. And we have north and south communication through the internet, our external networks that is important. And we have to take all this into consideration when designing a secure software-defined network. The traditional approach of leveraging perimeter firewalls for this is not the best way forward, right? If you look at building workload domains under a VCF environment, NSX software-defined networking is a core component of that. And within NSX, what it allows us to do is create a firewall at each individual virtual machine so that we can allow and deny traffic flows between the applications that matter. That way, we're not going all the way to the perimeter firewall to enable communication within a segment. All of that traffic, those firewalls are allowed or denied at the VM NIC. This is tremendous, right? A much more efficient way of leveraging security, a much more secure. We're not bound to just a VLAN anymore, right? We can implement these security settings at the virtual NIC on the VM. Now let's take a look at our environment. Cory and I built out a VCF environment. As you can see here, we have a VCF instance in 2 different locations. We have a VxRail workload domain deployed in one region. We have another VxRail workload domain deployed in a second region. These are 2 different deployments with 2 different NSX managers. We've taken those and onboarded them to our global manager. And what Cory is going to do, he's going to log in through the UI and show you how easy it is to manage both of these environments through a single pane of glass. He's going to go and create a cross-region segment. He's going to create 2 of those, one for a database client and one of those for a database server. He's going to create security groups and associate our different VMs that we have deployed in our environment into those security groups. And finally, he's going to create security policies that are going to allow our applications to communicate only through the ports that we designed those to. So with this environment that he's setting up, it's going to be a zero trust policy. So the only way that we can communicate is through the ports that we allow. And then lastly, Cory is going to leverage the capabilities of our setup to move workloads from one region to the other. And you're going to be able to see that the application, as it moves, all of the policies that are created move with it as we've attached those to global segments and global policies. So let's jump into the demo and take a look at Cory's video.
Hi, this is Cory Fair, and today we're going to demonstrate global security policy with NSX-T Federation. We're also going to show cross-region micro-segmentation. What you'll notice as we log in to SDDC Manager and eventually vCenter is that we've got some database client machines and some database server machines. You can actually see them here. DB client and DB server are both on region B right now. Later on in the demo, we'll actually be showing a migration of the client from region B to region A. So the first thing we need to do is log into NSX-T Manager, the global manager. You'll notice we come in at the global context, although we can switch to the on-prem context very easily. But we're going to switch back to the global context and take a look at the networking components. We have the standard setup of Tier 0 gateway with Tier 1 gateways for each region and various segments, including cross-region segments. But we're going to go ahead and create new segments that are cross-region. One for the database servers that is going to be attached to the tier 1 gateway that is cross-region, as well as another segment for the database clients that is again attached to the cross-region tier 1 gateway. Now we're going to actually see those in the port group listing, and we're going to go to the individual VMs and we're going to assign their VNICs to these new port groups that we created. So each database server 1 and 2 will be assigned to the database server port group, and the clients will be assigned to the database client port group. Now, if we click on the NSX-T manager and drill into one of the regions like region B, and we click on networking and network topology, we can see a graphical overview of what we've just created. You can see all the port groups that are attached to the tier 1 gateways, the cross region, and then the tier 0 gateway. So this is a good representation of what we've just built. So now we're going to demonstrate micro-segmentation and security policies. We're going to start a ping from the database client 01 to database client 02, showing that that works. We're going to ping database client to database server 01 and to database server 02. So we can see that this client can ping all the other database elements. Now we're actually going to spin up a Postgres benchmark. So client 01 is running Postgres traffic to server 01, and we're also going to SSH into client 01 and start a ping to server 01, just to show that Postgres as well as ICMP is working right now. Now, if we go to the global manager and click on the inventory and groups, we can actually create some security groups to contain the objects that we're later going to apply security policy to. So right now we're creating a database server group. We're going to make it global, and we're going to set the members. And you'll notice here the criteria that we chose is the VM name. So anything that contains server is going to show up in this group. And you can see that in region A, database server 02 shows up. And in region B, database server 01 shows up. So now we're going to add a group for the clients. So if we make that global and then set the members, again, we're going to set it based on name, although most customers actually use tags in production. Names are simpler for what we're doing right here. So if we save that, we should be able to view those members, and we should see that both the clients are on region B right now, and they're showing up in the security group. So now if we click on security and the gateway firewall, this is our north-south firewall that exists on the tier 0. You can see that we've got an allow all. So all traffic north-south is being allowed. And now if we click on the distributed firewall, you can actually see that we don't have any policies. So we're going to create a new policy related to Postgres traffic. And then under that policy, we're going to add a rule. And this first rule is going to be client to server, which is going to allow anything in the DB client security group to talk to anything in the DB server security group using specifically the Postgres protocol. We're going to add a second rule to block all the client to server traffic that's not Postgres. And these rules are executed in order from top to bottom. We're going to add a third rule to block server to client traffic. And as soon as we click on publish, our micro-segmentation on our east-west distributed firewall is going to take place. And you can see that the pings dropped off, but the Postgres traffic as part of the benchmark in the top terminal is still running. Now we're going to add a third rule, client to client, and we're going to block client to client traffic east-west. And so now you'll actually see that a ping from client to clients is actually stopped on the bottom there. Now we're going to actually vMotion client 01 from region B to region A. While this security policy is in place, it's a global security policy, and as part of NSX-T Federation, all of these distributed firewall policies will exist on both regions and will follow the VM. So right now, the vMotion is running. You can see it's at 50%. And now it's completed. And you can notice that there was no change in the Postgres traffic, and ICMP traffic remains blocked. And that's the end of our quick demo on NSX-T Federation, security policies, and micro-segmentation. We really appreciate you taking the time to watch this. If you want to check out more content like this, go to engineeringtechnologists.com.